Welcome to Fatter Wallet's Book Summaries. You know, every business has that one giant problem they need to solve, right? How do you get complete strangers interested in what you're selling? Well, today we're tackling exactly that by diving into Alex Hormozi's game-changing book, 100 Million Leads. So, to really get into Hormozi's mindset, we have to start with this quote: "I cannot lose if I do not quit." Now, for him, this wasn't just some motivational poster fluff. This was his lifeline. This was the one thought he held onto when everything, and I mean everything, was falling apart. And that's the perfect setup, because this whole book was literally forged in the fire of an absolute disaster. Just picture this for a second. You wake up, you grab your coffee, you open your business bank account, and your heart just drops. You're seeing a flood of refunds pouring out. That's exactly what happened to Alex and his wife, Layla. We're talking about a catastrophic amount of money just vanishing. The final tally? A negative $150,000. A hole blown in their business, literally overnight. So how does something like that even happen? Well, this is the crazy part. It wasn't a market crash or a bad product. It was sabotage. Two of their business partners, people they trusted to launch new gyms, basically turned on them and told all the brand new customers to demand their money back. I mean, talk about a betrayal. This was the kind of thing that ends companies. But for Hormozi, this crisis, this is where the magic really started. And that's when the light bulb went off. He realized that depending on partners, or even just word of mouth, was a massive, fatal flaw in his business. Think about it. If someone else can just walk over and turn off the faucet that brings you customers, you don't have a business. You've got a ticking time bomb. He knew right then and there he had to build a system, something he controlled, something that could never be shut off again. And that's exactly what he did. This is where the story pivots from total disaster to an actionable blueprint. Right out of the ashes of that huge financial crisis, he built a framework for getting leads, a system so simple yet so powerful that he claims these are the only 4 ways that exist to get strangers to pay attention to you. This became his playbook, his way out of the mess. So let's just pause on the problem he was facing. How on earth do you climb out of a $150,000 hole with no money? Remember, he needed to make that back in profit, not just sales. And he had zero cash for ads and a team he couldn't even afford to pay anymore. The pressure was absolutely insane. Whatever he came up with had to work, and it had to be free. And this is the answer. The whole system boils down to what he calls the core 4. That's it. You've got warm outreach, talking to people who already know you. You've got cold outreach, reaching out to total strangers. Then there's posting free content to build an audience that comes to you. And finally, running paid ads to get in front of people. He argues that literally every tactic you can think of fits into one of these 4 categories. Simple, right? Okay, so knowing the methods is one thing, but doing them is another. And to really hammer home a critical point, Hormozi tells this fantastic story from early in his career. A mentor suggests he try putting flyers on cars. So, what does he do? He gets 300 flyers printed up, spends a day sticking them on windshields, and then sits back and waits for the phone to ring. And yeah, it was a total bust. So he goes back to his mentor, totally defeated, and says the flyers didn't work. The mentor asks him one simple question: "How many did you put out?" Alex, probably thinking he'd worked pretty hard, says 300. And his mentor just starts laughing. Here's why. For his mentor, a small test was 5,000 flyers per day. Alex's entire campaign was a tiny fraction of one day's work for this guy. And that right there is maybe the biggest lesson in the whole book. Doing the right thing, but not doing nearly enough of it, is the same as failing. All right, so let's zoom in on one of these core 4 methods, one that you can literally start today for $0. Posting free content. This is such a game changer because when you do it right, you're not chasing customers anymore. You're building an audience that comes to you, an audience that actually wants to hear what you have to say. And he makes it super simple. He says all great content has just 3 parts. First, you got the hook. That's what makes someone stop scrolling and pay attention. Then you have to retain them. You keep their attention with a story or some useful steps. And finally, you reward them. You deliver the value you promised so they walk away thinking, wow, that was worth my time. So right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, great, but what on earth do I talk about? Well, he's got you covered there too. The book lays out 5 super easy topic buckets you can pull from lessons you learned way back when, stories from just the last few years, thoughts you're having right now, your take on what's trending, or you can even go create an experience just so you can talk about it. The point is, you're sitting on a gold mine of content already. And this is a really important shift in how to think about it. The individual piece of content, the video, the post, that's not the real asset. The audience is the asset. The content is just the tool you use to build that audience. An audience trusts you, they grow with you, and that is what will fuel your business for years to come, long after any one post is forgotten. Okay, so you start doing one of the core 4, it's working, you're getting leads, what's next? Well, eventually you're gonna hit a wall. You just can't do it all yourself. There aren't enough hours in the day. So the path to real scale isn't about you working harder, it's about getting leverage. And he has a great name for this: lead getters. A lead getter is just anyone who does one of the core 4 methods for you. Could be an employee, an agency you hire, an affiliate, doesn't matter. They are the people who help you multiply your efforts. They are the absolute key to breaking through that ceiling of what you can do on your own. And the math on this is just beautiful. Think about it. You can trade, say, 40 hours of your own time doing the grunt work for maybe 4 hours of managing the person you hire to do it. You just bought back 36 hours of your life, time you can now spend on things only you can do to grow the business. It's the ultimate cheat code. All right, we've gone through a lot here, from a huge crisis to a simple framework to a plan for scaling up. But if you remember only one thing from all of this, what should it be? What's the one non-negotiable piece that makes the entire system tick? It's this. It all comes back to the flyer story. Volume and consistency are everything. They are non-negotiable. It doesn't matter which of the core 4 you pick. If you don't do a massive amount of it and do it over and over and over again, it won't work. It's that simple. Most people don't fail because they have a bad strategy. They fail because their effort is just way too small. So, I want to leave you with a question to think about. Knowing that it all boils down to these 4 methods, and knowing that the secret ingredient is massive volume, which one are you going to start today? Are you going to do warm outreach, cold outreach, start posting content? Honestly, it almost doesn't matter which one you pick. What matters is that you pick one and go all in. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Fodder Wallets.